This week, you'll be playing with a lot of Kotlin code, and your project for this week will be building a rock, paper, scissors game that has an artificial intelligence to it, which is kind of just a fancy word for saying it randomly picks either rock, paper, or scissors, and your player selects rock, paper, or scissors, and we compare, and one person wins, and the other loses. So part of this is going to be learning a lot more programming this week than user interface work, whereas previous weeks we've been focusing primarily on design and user interface. Again, this isn't a computer science class, it's just the basics of programming and how to think about these things. And this is going to help you a ton whenever you start working with designs, and if you work at a company that has, software engineers or something like that, you can help them out. So I have a simple user interface here. I have a button and I have a text view. Both have constraints and they're good to go. What we're going to be doing is we are going to have this button where every time I press it, it's going to output a randomly generated number here as part of a sentence. So I'm just going to go over to my Kotlin file. I have my class, my typical setup. I'm going to hit return a couple times to give myself some lines. And let's write a new function called, we'll just call it button pressed, as per usual. And we're going to do our typical view so that it gets added to the view. Hop back over, grab my button, make sure it's connected on click. Okay, and then let's find out what our text view is called. It's just simply called text view. So I can kind of think ahead of time what I'm going to be doing here, but I'm going to be having a random generator here, followed by inputting that random value in a string and printing it in the text view. Okay, so let's make a new val, right? It's just going to be a val. It doesn't need to be a var because we're going to be regenerating it every time the button's pressed. We're not doing it like at a different time. So we're going to do a new value called my random int. We'll do that. And this one will be an integer, and we're going to have it equal to random dot, and you'll see a bunch of things appear in that dot, and these are all different types we can generate. We can generate a random int, an integer, a random boolean, right, a true or false statement, a random double, so something that has decimal places, same with float. And there's lots of other random things we can generate, but let's do a random int, which is next int, with a capital I, followed by parentheses. And between this parentheses is where we're going to put in our random upper limit value. So let's just give this a try. Let's put in 5, okay? And you'll notice it fills in this word until, and that's just kind of a helper word. It doesn't actually exist in the code. But we're saying every time we hit this button, create a thing called myRandomInt, a value called myRandomInt, and randomize and create a random value from 0 to 4. We're not going to have 5, it's going to be up to 5. Okay? Let's hit return on the end here, and let's output that. So we'll do our text view dot text equals, and we'll just do something simple like I have. And then I don't know if we've used this directly in class before, although part of your research for the calculator puzzle, this might have helped. But if you just do $ followed by a value's name like this, it's going to convert it to a string and have it displayable. So this will say I have, and then it's kind of like inserting that value here, cats. I have 5 cats or 4 cats or whatever. So let's hit that play button. And now that it's running, I'm going to hit this button. And we have I have 3 cats. If I hit it again, I have 0 cats. I have 3. I have 4. 0, 4. And as I hit it, it'll change to a bunch of different numbers. So great, it works. So by default, this generates from 0 to 5, but it's actually not going to do 5. It's going to do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is the upper limit. We can change this If we back this off a little bit and look at some of the different options, we actually have some different ranges here. So we've been using the until int, but there's also from and range. Let's pick this one that says range. So if I write something like 2.5, what that means is generate between 2 and 5. Let's just run our program again, and it's going to generate the numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this one actually does do 5, right? It'll use that upper number and it'll use that lower number. If we just give it 6 or something, it's going to go up to 6, but not 6. So there's lots of different ways to do this. You can play around with these things and use these values for all different types of things. Later we'll be using them to do switch cases, which are kind of like conditional statements. But yeah, that's the basics of generating a random value. And try that random dot and just see all the different things that you can easily generate with Kotlin.